Hello, welcome. It's Tune In Thursdays. We are going to wait a few moments to let some people join us. So I'm going to play one of my favorite songs. This is the only rap song that I know, and I learned it in high school. Hi, Ina. In my younger days, I used to sport a sag. When I went to school, I carried lunch in a bag with an apple for my teacher, cause I knew I'd get a kiss. I always got mad when the class was dismissed, but when it was in session, I always had a question. I would raise my hand to make a stand, come to my desk and help me with my problems. It was never much. This is a contentious touch. Oh, wow, I wish I could hold her hand and give her a hug. She was married to a man, he was a thug. His name was Lee, he drove a Z. He picked her up from school promptly at 3 o'clock. I was on a jock, yes indeedy. I wrote graffiti on the bus. First I'd write her name, then call her plus, with my name last on the looking glass. I seen her yesterday, but still I had to let her pass. Oh, good morning, friends. Isn't that fun? That is the only rap song that I know that I can pretty much do verbatim. I always mess up a couple of parts on it, but it's super fun. Hi, good morning. Oh my God, Garrett, hello. Good to see you. Garrett, I went to junior high with in Michigan, so good to see Garrett, Alex, Marcella, Jay is here. Great, sweet. Hi guys, it's Tune In Thursdays. All right, so if you're brand new to Tune In Thursdays, why am I doing this? And it is really because Thursdays are our day to check in and kind of see where we are. And you've had the entire week. So either you're in a week where you're like, yeah, awesome, I've been creating a lot this week and I feel really fulfilled and I feel like I'm moving and going somewhere with all of this. Or you are in your same cycles and you are racing towards the weekend. So this gives you an opportunity and a chance to tune in, check in with yourself. That is why we do these on Thursdays. So today we are doing why it's important to keep showing up, part 2. Last week I talked about it. I talked about showing up, and sometimes we don't know why we're showing up. Sometimes we don't want to show up, and then we find and discover something in the moments that we don't want to show up. Now, this is how we show up in our dreams. When we have a dream and we create it and we nurture it, we want to keep showing up to that dream even when we are not feeling like it's growing. Now, what I thought about after I did that talk was like, well, what about for the people who are not really sure of what their dream is and they're trying to figure that out? This is what we're going to talk about today, is kind of how you start that self-discovery process. And what I found, so I want you to kind of think about, have you ever experienced a moment where you feel like you've fulfilled everything that you've kind of wanted to fulfill, and now you're kind of in that weird state of life where you're like, well, I don't really know where to go next. I don't even know how to seek it. I don't know how it's going to open, what this thing is to open up in me, and you just kind of feel like you're walking a little bit in circles, and that's okay. And I'm telling you that right now, that is okay, because as long as you keep showing up, even if you are walking in circles, you keep showing up to that job that maybe you don't like, you keep showing up in the activities or in it could be the relationship, it could be the home that you're living in. You keep showing up and you keep being present to your situation. You are eventually going to find and discover what it is for you, what that dream is. And how you really start to do that. Hi, Charles. Hi, Eric. Actually, first I'm going to go into how I started discovering my own dreams. So as you guys know, some of you know, that I was in a surfing accident a little over 4 years ago. And that surfing accident not only split my face open right here, which you can barely see the scar now, but it split me open. And at the time I was running a yoga studio, and I didn't want to be a studio owner anymore. I just didn't. I was tired. I wanted to do something new. I was not expanding on my life. I knew I was not expanding on my gifts, but I didn't know what else to do except sell the yoga studio and go surf the world for a year. The universe had other plans for me and gave me an accident instead and said, no, you're going to wake up and I'm going to show you. You're going to figure this out. And I did. And what that caused me to discover was that summer, I held a yoga retreat down in Popoyo, Nicaragua. And that retreat was a very pivotal moment for me, because after we had the retreat and everything was said and done, I was really noticing what was coming up for me. And I was like, you know what, you guys, I'm going to stay. Everybody left and I stayed an extra 4 days so I could gain some clarity and get really quiet on what it is that I wanted. Because I was feeling this discontent. I was feeling this longing. And what I discovered was that, I don't think that the yoga studio was for me. So I came home from that trip. I went on a meditation retreat for 3 days and got really quiet. And my meditation teacher asked me a very simple question. The only question that I asked him during the entire weekend was, well, I don't know if I want to keep doing this with the studio. And he said, well, let me ask you this. What makes you happy? And I was like, you know what? For the first time in my life, I felt really happy in Nicaragua. And he was like, maybe that's what you should explore then. And I took that to heart. And I actually considered moving to Nicaragua. And I started selling all of my things, and I was a little bit hell-bent. I was like, yep, how am I going to do this? I have no idea, but I'm going to move to Nicaragua and I'm going to create a life. I'm going to, work down there, and I'm going to teach down there, and however this works out. Obviously that didn't happen, but what I did decide to do was go there and explore for 5 weeks, to go on a spiritual journey. What was my own spiritual journey? And I'd never left the States, much less taken that much time off, that large of time off, 5 weeks, to go to Nicaragua and Panama. And I decided to have somebody manage the studio for me, and at the same time, I was going to run the studio from abroad. So I had every morning, for a couple hours, I was on my computer and I was doing all of my studio stuff, and then, checking in, and then I would surf and I would teach yoga and I would meditate, and, and I was just on the path, and I was open to every experience. And I started observing the feelings inside of me on another level. So it became about, well, what feels good to me? Okay, well, I'm going to go over here. Does that feel good to me? Yes. Okay, I'm going to hang out here for a little bit. And then maybe I would, experience something new, and then I would experience that, and I would be like, you know what? Something in my body doesn't feel right. I think I'm going to step away from this. And then going through that process and seeing that this is how it's done. You just start being open, and you start saying yes to experiences that, even if you have the smallest interest in, go experience it anyway. Because really, what do you have to lose, right? And I always, that's really how I started learning how to trust my intuition and open my intuition up. And so that's what I am bringing up. So I started showing up, not knowing what the dream was. And, eventually what that led to was coming home, me closing the studio after being home for 2 months, and then starting on a brand new path. So, that just led up to something else. And that's what I invite you today to discover, because what is it that you want to do? What is it you want to be? What is it that you want to experience and express in your life? And in order for you to be doing those things, you have to show up. Yeah. And then eventually, boom, an idea comes through, and there you go. It's sometimes we have to, be in our lives, and we have to keep experiencing the things that aren't really suited for us to discover the things that are suited for us. And that's what we do really call the longing and discontent. And that's where you start noticing what you're noticing and what feels good to you and what doesn't. And eventually you can start on your own dream. And why I bring that up for you today is just, this is a time for contemplation. A lot of people are trying to work it out and figure it out. Where am I going? What am I doing? Am I really happy? Do I even know what happiness is? Do I know what contentedness is? I know I'm a little bit scared, because if I start to build on a dream that doesn't fit in this box, then I start to have questions of the I don't knows, right? And then you're like, well, how, why? And you start asking, you're like, well, I'm a structured person, I need to know. But guess what? Doesn't matter how much you plan, life is going to happen. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. And that is the biggest lesson that I have learned and still continue to learn, and I will learn until the day I am no longer in this body. So that is what I'd love to gift and give to you today. Just some food for thought, and you can take that for your week and your weekend. And just to share a little bit about what's going on here, I am a certified transformational life and spiritual coach. I am opening my work up to all of you, and I have put out a bunch of strategy sessions, complimentary strategy sessions. They all got booked up in 2 days, which was amazing, and I'm taking a lot of calls with people. And if you do want to get on that wagon, I will leave a link. You can get on the wait list for that. I will be opening up some slots soon. The other option is, if you are in Los Angeles, come to my vision workshop. That's going to be on March 25th at Bhakti Yoga Shala in Santa Monica. And it's from 1 to 4 p.m. And we're going to have fun, and we're going to play, and we're going to do some exercises and just open you up a little bit deeper and give you a little bit more clarity on these areas of your life where you can really design your life, not live your life by default. So that's that. And I would just really like to end with one of my very favorite quotes, which is by Albert Einstein. Play is the best form of research. That is part of your self-discovery. So go play. Go play today. Go play this weekend and see what you discover about yourself. Okay, have a great day, you guys. Love you. Oh, yes, Diana. The date is March 25th for the Vision Workshop. Yeah, I'll post that as well below. All right, love you guys. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you next week.